It's time to get in tune with the rat strat. I put in some new tuners on our recently refinished beautiful neck. We're getting started right now. Okay, installing tuners on your headstock can be easy or it can be not so easy. First of all, I just want to say I put 3 coats of tung oil on this neck and it just turned out beautifully smooth, fast, looks good. Anyway, tuners. The old tuners that I took off of here, old fender style. Of course these say China, probably can't read that on the back. And these are, you take this cover off and there's your gear. Which turns your tuning peg. And I thought about maybe cleaning these up and putting them back on. Then I thought, nah. Then I thought about replacing them with this type. But the problem with that is, well, we filled these holes in. The problem is, all the ones I could find, aftermarket ones, the holes are opposite. Instead of being here and here, they're on these corners. So we'd have to fill these holes and drill new ones anyway. And I just don't like these kind of tuners. So what I got were these Goto, more of a standard fender style modern tuner. They're not locking tuners. My son doesn't like locking tuners. So these are pretty nice. They have I think it's a 16, 1:16 ratio. Got a similar head to the other one. Similar style, but here's the rub. Herein lies the rub. The original tuners that were on here do have a very small tuning peg compared to these new ones. This is about 7.5 millimeters. The base of this is 10. And if you go online and look at any place that sells tuners, machine heads, whatever you want to call them, and you're looking for replacements for Stratocasters or whatnot, a lot of times you'll see questions and they'll say, will these fit my Ibanez so-and-so, or will these fit my Squire, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times they don't fit because holes in headstock are not the same size as this tuning peg, which is 10 millimeters, give or take within a millimeter or so. It's about 9 something. So obviously in order to remedy that, we have to drill these holes out a little bit bigger. Now, in order to do that, and to do it without tearing up this wood that we just painstakingly sanded and refinished, I'm going to do this slowly and incrementally with a series of drill bits. And I'm going to reposition the camera and explain a little more. Okay, my drill. Have my drill bits. My neck. I have a towel. I have some blocks of wood here, which I'm going to pull this towel over top, put these blocks of wood down, some clamps, clamp the neck down so it does not move while I'm drilling. And I'm going to take some of this orange tape from Stu Mac that we use to do fret work. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to put this across these holes on the back, just as a safeguard to try to further protect the finish, the wood from tearing out when the drill bit comes through. Okay, so we're going to do that. And another thing we're going to do, see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drill bits. And I'm starting with the next size up from the one that fit, last one that would fit in the hole. And the last one that actually fits. And if you do the millimeter to inch conversion, which you'll find out, this is 5/16. That's the last drill bit that fits in here. So I'm going to go from that to the next one up, which is 21/64. That's what we're going to start with. I'm going to drill each of these holes with 21/64. Then we're going to go to 11/32, then to 23/64, then to 3/8, and finally to 25/64, which is fairly close to 10 millimeters. If we put this on here, I'm getting 9.96, 9.98 if I do it a couple times. And then I take my machine head here, if I slide this on here, 9.8, 9.82, depends where you slide it, 9.86. So it's darn close. So this drill bit should, in essence, make these holes large enough. Now you could say, well, why don't you just move right up to that one size and just drill? Because I don't want to tear the hell out of this headstock. I want to do it slowly, take as little material away as possible. It's going to take a little longer, but that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so as I said, we're going to move the headstock to the edge here, close to the edge. All right. Then we're going to take the towel to protect it. Okay. And on this flattest part here, because I want to protect the frets from the, even though this has a rubber protector on it. Okay, and that's not going to work. Because, oh yeah, maybe it will. Oh yeah, it will. All right, let's move a little closer. Ooh, that was close. I was thinking I might have to go down and get my other. Ooh. Okay, didn't like the sound of that, but that was just my. Okay. All right, pretty stable. I think we're pretty protected. Now we're just going to go to the first bit here. which is 21/64. And okay, this is something that would probably be best done on a drill press, but I don't have a drill press. So once you start the drill up, you can feel the pull on it, and just kind of let the drill do the work and take that bit down through. And as I get finished, I'm going to grab the next one and do the same thing, go through each hole until I've gone through all 5 bits. Okay, as I've done each one of these holes, I'm up to the last bit now. I'm ready to do the last bit. I just, for the sake of not going overboard, took this tuner, tried each time to put it in the hole. After the 3/8, I can get it to go in a little bit, but then it stops. So I know I'm not over drilling. And you might be thinking, isn't that a little nerve-wracking? Drilling holes in your headstock? Yes, it is. But you know what? I found with a lot of this, working on guitars and working with wood, and you're working with things that are delicate and beautiful and that you put a lot of work into, and you want to take your time and you want to be careful, but there also comes a time when you just got to go. It's go time. You got to do it. You got to take the leap. So that's what I'm doing with this last drill bit. This is 25/64, more or less 10 millimeters. This should be the one. All right. On this end, looks fantastic. Didn't do any damage, and machine head goes right in. So let's look at the other side. Take these off of here. Take this tape off and see if we got any tear out. And that would be big fat no tear out. Nice and clean, nice and clean. Now, here's the acid test. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, let's get some other parts out here and see what we can do. This has the washer and the nut on there. that on there. Tighten it up a little bit. I do believe this is the right size. 10 millimeter. Here we go. Looks pretty good. But now what we have to do is line these up evenly. Make the marks for drilling the, hope you could see that. We have to line these up evenly so that when we make the marks for these screws and drill them, everything will line up nicely. So that's what I'm going to do. This is exciting. I love this. All right. There you go. That's a little better view. Get these washers on here. Now I'm just going to kind of, these are in here pretty snugly. Okay, they're not going to slip and slide around too much. So I'm just going to pop these on here. Finger tighten them. For now. Not even really tight, just kind of screw them in so that they're this one's being a little belligerent. Don't know why that is. Okay. So now, how do we make sure these are lined up properly? What I like to do is use straight edge. What I'll do is lay this on here up against the bottoms of these and then just slowly work them all until they touch. Okay, and when you get them lined up so that they look pretty good with a straight edge, you want to give them a quick visual inspection from the front. Yeah, this one looks like it's leaning a little this way, and so does this one. So if I line these up on the back again, I might want to just tilt these back just a tad. That looks better. One more quick shot here. Everything's up against there, nice and tight. Looks pretty good that way. Okay, so now I can make my marks safely for where I'm going to put those tiny little screws. Okay, to make my marks I'm going to use a punch, but this is a spring punch, and I'm not going to put it down and let it do. This is what it does when you make. Okay, that's the mark it makes, which is okay. These two I made just by putting pressure in there, and really all I need is something small like this to make a mark, and this gives me a little more control. I just put it in there, spin it around a little bit. Mark each one of these. Put some pressure on there so it's making a dent in the wood. Don't want to pull these off and not be able to see something. Okay, now here's the other thing. I could just drill these with these on here. However, I'm not going to do that for two reasons. One, it's just lazy. And two, it's really easy to slip with your drill, make a mark on the chrome, slip off into the wood. Any number of things could happen. It's just easier to take these off. Okay, like that. Pop these guys back out. And I'm going to put them right back here, so I'll put them back in the hole that they were in. And now, when I look here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is a very small mark right next to each one of those holes we filled in. They're not all exactly spaced. But I can see every one of them. And I know if I drill there, it's going to be good. Okay, these are the screws. So I'm going to get a small bit to make a pilot hole for these screws. Don't want it to be too big. Don't want it to be too small. So let's quickly take a measurement here. Okay, it's about 2.2 millimeters. Okay, so drill bit I want to use is going to have to be smaller. What's the smallest one I have in here? I have to probably get my other kit out. So this is 2.3. That's definitely too big. So let me dig another set of drill bits out here. See what we can find. Here's a this is a 1/16. Okay. Now that's about 1.6 millimeters. 1.6 millimeters. So that's a good pilot hole for a 2.2. At least I believe it will be. If you measure this up near the tip, .2, 2.3. This is 1.5, 1.6. So even at its widest point, this bit's not going to be too wide for our hole. But the important thing here is that we don't go too deep into the headstock. Okay, we don't want to drill all the way through. Two ways to do this. You can use a measurement, or you can use a visual aid, or you can use a drill press. If I take this screw and match it up to here, and I put my tape right where the bottom of that head of that screw is, actually I'm doing this backwards. I want to start where the head of the screw is. So if I take the screw, put my nail there, then I want to lay this tape there. So pretty much that's a pretty safe bet that that's as far in as the drill's going to go. Now if we test that out here, you see that we still have a good 1/4 of an inch before we come through the front. So that's a good length. That's what I'm going to go with. However, don't want to get lazy and sloppy with this. So I'm going to put some blocks underneath this so it doesn't rock. It's not going to move. We don't have to worry about going through. And then very carefully put my bit in that little divot we made. before we go any further. Test it out. Put that back in there. There we go. Perfect. Now, is the hole big enough? The screw will start in there. And that's all I need to worry about right now. Okay. So one down. 5 to go. And you can see we did not come through the front. So we're in pretty good shape so far. All right, I'm going to drill the rest of these. I'll be right back. Okay, got my holes drilled. Here's something I did not plan on happening. This hole was very close to the original hole that we filled in. And as I'm drilling down, I felt the drill bit slip over. Don't know if that's going to make any difference. We'll find out when we drive that screw in. If it does, then we'll go to plan B. If it doesn't, should be no problem. So, all right, next step. Back to where we were. My screwdriver. I usually like to have the one I think is going to fit and then the next bigger one, because a lot of times it ends up being the next bigger one and you just don't realize it at the time. Now, a lot of guys, luthiers, you watch guys online, they'll tell you to use soap or wax, something to kind of get the screw some lubrication. Get some in between the grooves there. So I just use an old candle, tea light candle. Seems to work fine. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Nice and gentle. Push down while you're turning. Turn slow. Once it's snug, stop. No excess wax comes out there. Okay. Give this a little press in. I'll take this, tighten it by hand. That'll bring this down tight. And then I want to take this screw and just give it one more little try. If it doesn't turn, that's great. Don't force it. Don't ever force these. Here we go. First tuner's on. Okay. You know what? I'm anxious about this one with the funky hole. So I'm gonna do that one next. Seems to be lined up perfectly. I don't know. Hopefully not going to give us a problem. See, that's what I mean about these screws. That seems like the right size head, that nice narrow screwdriver, but sometimes I think the next best thing is to go one. Okay, tighten that by hand. That one did give us a little more of a turn there. However, did not slip, did not strip. It's in there snug. All right, let's do. I'm going to finish these up and I'll be back. Okay, last one. Push it on there. Make sure the hole's lined up. Pop the nut and washer on. Take this, just tighten it so it's snug, so the hole stays lined up. Bit of wax on the screw in the hole. Steady pressure, nice and easy. Get it down snug. Take the wrench, tighten this back up. Now I tighten these, hand tighten these as tight as I can do it by hand. I don't use a wrench on these. Check the screw. That's it. Friends, we are finished successfully installing beautiful Goto chrome tuners on our rat Strat. This thing's not going to be a rat when we're done with it. It's going to be the belle of the ball, baby. I have to get a nut. This project can't really go much further until I get a nut. I took the old nut out. I'm not going to use that. I'm still in a toss up here whether I'm going to use bone or I'm going to use tusk. I generally use Graph Tech tusk nuts. But we're going to bolt this guy on, coming up to the neck, to the body, and then once we get it bolted on, definitely need the nut. Then we can put the bridge on, get everything lined up. But for today, these have a nice smooth action too. Nice and smooth, all uniform. I'll feel great. Success. All right, there she is. Beautiful Goto tuners. All lined up, nice and level, nice perfect. Screws all went in there nicely. Looks good on that beautifully finished neck. Oh, I'm excited. Like I said, I have to get a nut because I have the neck plate. We're going to bolt the neck on the body. Then we can put the bridge in. But in order to line the bridge up properly, we need the nut so we can put some strings in there and line everything up. But we'll see how that's done. But this was a success. Very happy. Very happy. Can't wait to get this thing finished. It's such a pleasure. But it's also a pleasure for you to tune in to watch and If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Please subscribe and you can watch the rest of this build and see how it turns out. It's going to be awesome. I guarantee it'll be worth your while to subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care.